Smell that? That's the smell of a fresh start.
Nothing will distract me or my government.
Clear, controversy-free air, big policy announcements, focus.
We're a pretty focused bunch. We're very focused. To remain focused, we've always remained focused. It has been that focus.
Focus on something that isn't the horrific, not to mention politically damaging, allegations of the past week. Focus on something positive, like teeny tiny job seeker increases for unemployed Aussies. Right, guys?
Are sexual assault allegations a distraction for your government?
Prime Minister, what's the timeframe that you're considering for this independent inquiry?
If you maintain that you didn't know it was a sexual assault, what did you think you were talking about?
ScoMo's policy pocket change, not enough to distract from the controversies that just keep coming.
News just coming in, Craig Kelly has actually quit the Liberal Party.
The ivermectin issue, the issue of speaking out on these COVID treatments is my main reason for making the decision that I have.
It's not you, it's the head lice treatment you won't let me spruik as a COVID cure. Kelly's resignation leaving the government with the slimmest of majorities, 76 seats in a 151-seat parliament, and that's including the Speaker. But that's not the only Craig Kelly-related controversy the PM was dealing with.
A senior member in Mr Kelly's office is under police investigation amid allegations of inappropriate work conduct.
The allegations involving interns as young as 16.
Are you concerned that Mr Kelly chose to keep that staff member on board while those investigations took place?
I have long expressed to Mr Kelly my concerns about that staff member, and he has long understood what my expectations were about how he would deal with that matter.
Expectations that apparently didn't extend to withdrawing his support for Kelly, who he saved in pre-selection in 2018. Around the same time, concerns about the staffer's behaviour were raised.
He's entitled to natural justice and the presumption of innocence.
Just another day of Canberra bubble controversies the PM can't seem to escape.
I'm sorry, I've got an international call.
Well, our own Peter Van Onselen loves controversy and the Canberra bubble, and he joins us now. PVO, let's talk Craig Kelly. He's like the boyfriend you should have dumped, but he got in first. I mean, does this mean he's going to have more power because of the way he did it?
Yeah, look, you're bringing back painful childhood memories, actually. But look, I think it means that he will have some more power potentially, but more likely he just simply will lose that power over time. This could be another case of what happened to Corey Bernardi when he walked away from the Liberal Party and ultimately, therefore, didn't have the same extent of power that he had. But he shouldn't have been allowed to be the one doing the breaking up here. There's little doubt about that. He might have broken up with Scott Morrison, who saved him at pre-selection, but he's the third Liberal Prime Minister that he's dated, because he was also saved at pre-selection by Malcolm Turnbull and by Tony Abbott before that. So this has been a long time in the making.
Can I ask why that is? Why do they keep backing him for pre-selection?
I think the first time was a legitimate one because he was seen as a popular local member and the seat of Hughes that he's in was a marginal seat. But it's become so much safer now and the demographics have shifted. It became a factional thing later on. They thought he was a troublemaker. Who knew? And as a result of that, they tried to keep him in the tent because they'd rather have him doing the proverbial from there rather than the other way around.
I love the phrase, the proverbial, well used, PVO. I'm interested in asking that question about the pre-selection in the context of the allegations of against his senior staffer, Frank Zumbo. The Prime Minister saying he long expressed concerns about that, yet he still backed him for pre-selection. What were his expectations? What concerns did he express?
Well, I find it hard to understand why the Prime Minister would want to make the point that he's long expressed concerns about that, because that just shows that for a long time now, he's essentially been impotent when it comes to being able to rein Craig Kelly in, not just on some of his outlandish comments publicly, where Liberals can always say we believe in free speech, but something like the allegation around the staffer. That's the sort of thing that you would have thought that a Prime Minister would be able to rein a backbencher in on. The fact that Scott Morrison couldn't do it, he's got such outward control within his party, particularly after the election win. The fact that he didn't do it to Craig Kelly really does talk to the fact that Craig Kelly does represent someone that they tried to keep in the tent, but ultimately they failed.
What's next for Kelly, PVO? Is there any chance he gets re-elected as an independent?
Yeah, it's hard to know which way he's going to go. He could try to run in his own seat, but that could be difficult. There's talk that he could go under the National Party banner, but it's not really a national seat because it's not a rural electorate. He could go to One Nation, but if he did that, he wouldn't hold on in a single-member electorate in the lower house. The more likely scenario, if he wants to win, and that may not be what it's about for him, it would be to go to the Senate and go to one of those minor parties like perhaps One Nation or an equivalent and try to get in where the electoral system is a little bit more favourable to minor parties and independents. I'm not not sure that winning Hughes on his own is the way to go, particularly if Scott Morrison remains popular, which would mean that the Liberals are a good chance of winning it. But they've got to pre-select the right person to do that.
I reckon it creates a new party, Federated under Craig Kelly. I'm just looking at the acronym. I'll forget that. PVO, thanks so much for your time.
Starts injecting bleach into all their participants, but anyway.
From expert opinions to in-depth analysis and reporting, the Project YouTube brings you the biggest stories from Australia and around the globe. Hit the subscribe button now for news delivered straight to your feed.